So you guys, I want to bring up a good friend of mine. He's going to talk with us for just a few minutes about the power of a template and given the gold and power of systems and so on and so forth. So I asked him to come up and give us just a few minutes about how you can improve your ability to get somebody to look at the tools in a template. So with that, you guys, a good friend of mine, business partner, one of my best friends, one of the most amazing speakers and trainers, trains around the planet, all over the world on a myriad of different topics. With that, you guys, huge round of applause for new MD, Mr. Maurice.
I want to tell you just a little bit of my story, if I may. Prior to coming into being a motivational speaker, traveling throughout the world, I'm planning Mars next, so I could be interplanetary. But anyway, I was in sales of post-production equipment, editing equipment. If you're not familiar with it, think of it as a word processor for video and audio. Very complex, very computer-driven. And if you know anything about me, I'm computer illiterate. I keep yelling copy and paste back there because, oh, that's the only thing I know about texting. But I started this new opportunity, unbelievable. People, the joke was that the salespeople were going home with wheelbarrows full of money. Because this is when the industry first started and the commissions were ridiculous. And here I was, computer illiterate, not understanding anything that was going on. And about 2 weeks later, we're in Las Vegas for the biggest convention, NAB, National Association of Broadcasters, you're familiar, huge, one of the biggest conventions in Las Vegas. And here I am on the floor with a medallion of the #1 national VAR, right, of this retail. So people are coming up to me and they're asking me questions that I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying. They're asking me questions that I have no idea what they're saying. Then it dawned on me. Anybody ever heard from the scripture, the truth will set you free? How many of you have heard that? The truth will set you free. Well, I like this quote even better. Questions will set you free. Questions. Do you know who said that quote? Questions will set you free?
Yeah.
Who did? Yeah, I did. Thank you very much, Shira. Thank you for listening. You guys, you gotta listen. You gotta listen. We're gonna talk about listening in a moment. Questions will set you free. What I mean by that is this. I'll never forget, a gentleman came up to me and he asked me this really complex question. And I just looked at him like a deer in the headlights, and I'm just seeing money going out the door. In other words, I see all these people making money except for me. And I said, this has got to stop, right? This can't be a hobby. This has got to be a career choice. So I simply said, hey, how do you mean? And he explained it. And I said, well, how are you working in your office? And I started to ask him a series of questions. You know what it came right down to? He just wanted to know how much computer storage he needed to do a certain project. I think Casey hit the nail on the head when he says we try to make this too complex. We try to complicate things. We got to really systematize that and make it as easy as possible. And what I learned from that experience is by asking good questions, and the answer, and the also to that, please write this for me, good questions plus good listening. Good questions plus good listening. I have made more money by listening than by talking at all. Because as we open up our listening, we actually will see the opportunity. And I'm going to be talking about that in a moment. So this is my question to you. Are you asking good questions? Have you have a system in place, when we talk about systems, in place to do that? Now, when I do presentations, I believe in preparing. But for today, Casey said, make sure you get the idea across that this is simple. And this is easy to do. So you know what I did? I didn't prepare today. Why? Because I was listening, and guess what? As I was listening, I was coming up with my systems and templates based upon what I heard in the room. I can't think of a better system to use than something that's easy for me to use. That's why I began today with the Jim Rohn quote of, it's easy to do, and it's easy not to do. This texting thing was a great example. A lot of people right away, resistance. I'm not open to that. Well, the first note I wrote on that, I want to kind of go backwards in this meeting, is sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, we have to meet our prospects at their level. Does anybody know what I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Seriously, what do I mean by that?
You gotta speak their language.
You gotta speak their language.
If you don't text, start texting.
Yeah, if you don't you text, if they're in social media, if this is where they live, that's what we call it. You gotta meet them where they live. In the sales lingo, we gotta meet them where they live. Now, I'm not that good of a texter, but I discovered the copy and paste. Oh my gosh. So for Christmas and for New Year's, I copy and pasted all my friends, and yet they thought, oh my God, look, Maurice is in touch with me.
I did.
See that? See that? See, they thought, oh my God, I sent
I
them a
figured
special
it was
message.
everybody from BMC.
So I want you to meet your prospects. Be open. That's the key word. Be open and find your easy way. So please write that down for me. I'm committed to find my easy way. And the way is, yes, we could throw around that big word system, but I'd rather use your way. Your way. I know Casey talked about Justin's lovely tattoos over here, and God bless him. He says, slow down, and Casey said, and this is one thing I love about working with Casey. If you ever come to our meetings, we actually contradict each other in public, and I'm going to contradict Casey right now. And I believe that's great.
Cut his mic!
And this is great to have as your team leaders. Why? Because you get to see both sides of the coin. He read Justin's hand, said slow down, and he said, oh, I want to advise that. I suggest you to speed up. I'm going to suggest you to slow down, but let's add, see, he didn't finish the rest of the sentence. And I'm sure if we pull Justin's sleeves down, we'll see the rest of the message, and this is this. Write this down for me. Slow down and be consistent. I can't think of an easier way to do that. You just got this fantastic document with these 100 boxes. Casey talked about doing it 15 minutes per day. I'm going to suggest slow down, but be consistent. 15 minutes, 3 boxes. 15 minutes, 3 boxes. Why? This is new to you. Because then Casey said, once you did it, then you're going to take that total number of days and cut it in half. And a lot of you are going to have, a cardiac arrest and say, oh, I can't do that again. But slow and consistent. We have to understand, if I may use the board here, we have to understand how habits, and fantastic, I know Casey's going to recommend some books. I recommend this book, The Power of Habit. Write this down for me. The Power of Habit by Duhigg, sorry. Last name is Duhigg, possibly Paul or Doug Duhigg. What is it? Check Amazon. The Power of Habit, brand new, it's all over the place. And quite simply, we got to get into this habit, if I may. Habits are cyclical. Alrighty? That's all it is. It goes in this pattern constantly. The T stands for trigger, the action, and then the reward. How many of you believe that we're still based on the Pavlovian habit that we love to get rewarded, that little pat on the back, that little treat, that little payday bar, that little trophy over here to keep us going? The best example I could use for habit is the cigarette habit, right? The trigger is, oh, your body needs nicotine, right? So it triggers the body to put you into action to smoke a cigarette. Now what's the reward? You get the nicotine. You've completed that cycle. And guess what happens? Whether your body needs the nicotine or not, it loves that reward, that refreshment. Even if people say that people smoke cigarettes and actually get breaths of fresh air, why? Because they go smoke outside and they're in the loveliness of the outside. So they're even getting rewarded that way. So it's crazy. So this is my question to you. Your 15 minutes a day, your 3 boxes, my question to you is this. What is going to be your reward? The trigger is easy. The time on a clock. That's all. The action is, what's the action? Texting 3 times, that's it, right? What's going to be your reward? Let's make this as easy as possible. Could be for a walk, could be calling your best friend, could be ringing a doorbell, ringing those the table bells. I highly recommend. Those little, get our attention bells for customer service. I highly recommend those guys. And ring the bell. Start setting things up for you so it becomes easier and easier, all right? So now you're getting these texts, they're coming out. Now you're setting up an appointment. And that's what I want to concentrate on. And that's what Casey's asking me to do here. Did everybody understand what I said so far? I want you to really establish, let's make this as easy as possible, and what's going to be your way, your system. They start calling you back. Now, I jotted down a few notes to how we're going to talk to these people. And again, remember I said it's your way? And this is my question to you. This is a quiz, and I want you to I'm going to give you a minute to write down this question. Write down the answer to this question. What got you into send-out cards? What got you excited to become a distributor? Write down that answer for me. I'll give you a minute. What got you into it? What got you excited to join Send Out Cards? Okay, thank you. Now, why did I say that? Oh, I'll give you an example. When Mary Lou came up here, this is the notes I wrote down for Mary Lou. Convenience. Right? It was 2 o'clock in the morning. She would want to send a card to her uncle, so that triggered her. Right? Okay, that would work for me. Send out cards will work for me because it's convenient. Also, the retention. She talked about that client that disappeared for 3 years, and what happened? Came back. Retention. And not only that, she said, now I'm in a position to start building money. So what do you think, as part of her way, when she does initiate, when she has these first conversations with these people via the texting, what do you think the best things she could talk about to this client, to this prospect? What's near and dear to her? Let's make this as easy as possible for us. Right? I spoke with Rick down in the break room. Rick, when he was first introduced to this thing, he said, I don't even send out cards, right? You're actually proud of the fact. I have never sent out a card in the 30 years of my life. He looks good for 30, doesn't he? 30 years I've never sent out cards. But he says, you know what? I just have fun doing it. And his whole personality lit up. So what do you think he's going to talk about when he starts talking about having fun with this, reaching out to people, reconnecting with people? So whatever you've written there, that would be your way, your template to begin that conversation. I'm all about presenting. I'm not about public speaking. I'm about how you're going to present yourself. And guess what? When Mary Lou talks about convenience, retention, and building dollars, when Rick talks about, hey, it's fun and I get to reconnect with people, don't you think they're just going to naturally light up? Don't you think their passion is going to come out? And ladies and gentlemen, traditionally in sales, what do people buy first? You. There it is. They buy you first. I could say more, I could say that passion will drive and inspire more people to look more into it than anything I can convince you of. So what got you into this? I have another question for you. All right, does everybody understand that? So when you start making these phone calls, I want you to start thinking, hey, I have a perfect opportunity. In fact, let me share with you. People love stories, so tell them a story. Why not begin? Hey, they're going to call you back and say, okay, I got your text. What is this thing about opportunity? So you know what? Let me share my story. You can start simply that way. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. So begin with that. Let me share my story. Human beings love stories. Why? Now let's think about this. Because they instantly put themselves into the story. So as you're explaining the story, guess what you're doing? You're telling a story, but subliminally, you are giving a commercial. Do you realize that? Without selling them. That's why I love telling stories. So tell your story. Tell how you got into stand-up, how you're excited about it, and what it's doing for you. Okay? Let me tell you, that's a simple, and just be prepared for that. The other thing I want you to be prepared for, and I know a lot of people don't want to do this because don't want to move forward, is because they're afraid of the objections. Well then, what are your objections to send out cards? What do you think you will hear? Write out those questions. Put a little simple comeback for it. And trust me, there's enough people here to help you to overcome those objections. And just be prepared for those. I'm going to say write down about 3 objection questions, and that's it. And that's as basic of a system I could share with you. But if I may, I want to lead with this one point. One of the notes I took, right, was from Dean. Did everybody enjoy Dean's presentation? Fantastic presentation. Anybody go up to talk to Dean? Anybody go up to talk? I'm sure the majority of them talk to Dean. How many of you asked Dean, by chance, what was that story, what was that question? What was that question you asked that comic while you were sitting on the airplane? How many of you asked Dean, can you repeat back to me that question that you asked a total stranger on an airplane to get that opportunity? Anybody ask Dean that? I was the only one? You see, ladies and gentlemen, I'm constantly looking for that system, that little tip, that little technique. Why? Because yes, I know I'm going to exhaust my friends. Where the money lies is that person sitting next to you on the airplane. Is that person standing up line at Starbucks? You see, that's Dean, I made a point of it, because I'm looking for that technique. I'm looking for that simple sentence. They talked about occupations. I'm a stand-up, I'm a CSI. Hey, are you open to other opportunities? That's what I wrote down. I put a big star by it. I put, Dean, are you open to other opportunities? Are you open to other opportunities? And that's it, it began. Do you know what I just heard? I heard Dean's system. Anytime when I read Beach Money, I'm looking for little systems, even if it's a sentence. Does everybody realize that's Dean's system? When he's sitting next to a total stranger, he strikes it up. What's easy? Where do you live and what do you do? What's your name? Where do you live and what do you do? Son of a gun. For Dean, his system is, what's your name? Where do you live? What do you do? Are you open to other opportunities? And that's what I'm saying. I'm going to ask you to be open. Listen to these other team leaders. Also, the biggest open I'm going to share with you is open and listen to every prospect out there. They're giving you clues constantly of where to plug and play the system. Amy said something very interesting just a moment before I got up here. She said, my gosh, you could use these scripts in person. That's a system. You're talking to somebody online at a Starbucks. You say, hey, what are you doing to generate new business? You're talking about what are you doing to generate new business? Well, I have you go text number 1. Say it out loud. That's a system. If I could leave you with anything, is be short, be simple, and be you. That's it. But be prepared. Be prepared. So now you have these texts. You have why you got excited and send out cards. Let me tell you something. Your excitement will catch on to the next person. And now I want you to start being open. Listen to these trainings. Listen when you're reading stuff on this topic. What are those simple techniques they are using to open the door to the opportunity for you to present you and your excitement for sending out cards? I'm going to be here for the remainder of the day. If you want me to hear what your system is or what your questions you're asking, there's enough people here between Dean and Casey and everyone else, Bruce and everybody, that will help you with that. And again, keep it simple. Right? What does KISS stand for?
Keep it simple, stupid.
What'd you call me? Who called me stupid? Keep it simple, sweetheart. I hope that was simple enough for you guys. I hope you got a little piece of information there.
It's all about the simplicity. Do you guys see that? Do you understand that there's an equation out there that network marketers and business owners across the planet have been using for years? I've trained this for years and years and years, and those people that understand it and get it and apply it in their send-out card business are off to a roaring start. Are you ready? It's a math equation. You ready? Simplicity plus enthusiasm equals massive duplication. Simplicity plus enthusiasm equals massive duplication. That's actually an equation that I have written on my bathroom mirror with a dry erase marker. I see it every morning and every night right before I go to bed. Keep it simple. Keep it simple.
Repeat that one more time, please.
Simplicity plus enthusiasm equals massive duplication. So before we wrap up, I want to just say one more thing. I have a whole slew of books. If you want to know what kind of books I read, these are the books that I'm currently reading. And there's the books, I read them all the time. I'm a magazine type reader, so I'm the guy that goes, oh, here's a page, and I'll read this. Right? I'm not a front to back kind of guy. So I've got to have multiple things happening simultaneously.
Squirrel.
Yeah, I know.
Squirrel.
So I'm going to suggest this book, Feeding a Giant, is written by one of our industry and our profession's biggest unsung heroes. And back in the day, before he and I got acquainted and I begged him to make his book digital, this book had gone out of print. And we had an entire team buy this in 2010. And people were buying this book on Amazon or on eBay for about $200 a copy. I think I paid $300 for this copy of this book. It's now available on Amazon for almost next to nothing. You can buy it from bobcrisp.com, and it's $1 or $2. He's made it available. It's called Feeding a Giant. This is, in essence, my religious book when it comes to building my business. Okay? I've highlighted in here, I've highlighted, folded pages down. It is the foundation for how I build the business. Bob Crisp, Robert Crisp.
C-R-I-S-P?
C-R-I-S-P, yeah. Robert E. Crisp.
What's the name of the book?
Feeding a Giant. He also has another one that's called Building a Giant or Killing a Giant or something other to do to a giant. But Feeding a Giant is fantastic, an amazing book for where you guys are. And I'll talk to you more about it if you want, but it's a great book. So there's all the other, well, I'm going to have Rochelle come and talk. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you haven't read that, read that. Don't steal my copy of The Relationship You up here because Justin's signature's in it. I kind of want to show you this, and then I want to get some testimonials or some thoughts from today. But my office mate, Mike, who works with Ryan, has a card campaign. And it's pretty simple. It's, he made this graphic and he sends it out as a campaign. And this is what he has used to primarily build his business. And just to put this in perspective, he signed up in October. He didn't really do anything for a few months. He built so fast that he was on the Eagle's Nest the last go around. He's a senior manager. We're about to pop Ryan as a senior manager. Ryan will be a senior manager with one more person. And then we have 4 other senior managers that are ready to play right up behind him. So, systems, being able to send out a card a day, a gift a week, have somebody walk through, send out cards, get into the manager pool, get to manager, lather, rinse, repeat. Yes,
Can you
sure.
pass it around to see?
Yes, but I do need to make sure these get back. I begged him to keep them here.
Can we get that campaign?
No.
He can only have 6
Are they, it's here?
No.
I wouldn't pass it.
Okay, I'll pass that one around. There's a reason that I'm being kind of coy with his stuff, is that he's one of the world's best copywriters, and he's testing this, so I don't want to give out his stuff before he's perfected it. When he gets it and it's totally dialed in, he'll share it. But so I just asked, don't copy the card, okay?
And who is this?
Yeah, you can't do that. Just the guy whose office this is, Mike Kerwana. So awesome guy. So before we wrap up, was today helpful for you guys?
Yes.
Is this worth pursuing if we have another meeting like this?
Yes.
You guys will bring people to it? Cool. Also, there's a book that Jordan is a part of that we didn't really promote very well. If you can find it, I don't even know where you find it. But he did a book with Art Jonak as a forward between Jordan, Orrin, Donna, and Ken Dunn. These guys are all top income earners in their respective companies. There's from Arbonne. I don't remember where the other guys are from. Ken is from a water company. But this book was basically how to restart and reboot your network marketing business. If you've signed up a bunch of people, you stepped away and you need to get it restarted. It's a great book, and there's a CD of them talking. I took the CD out. I don't remember.
Amazon?
It might be on Amazon. I'm not sure, but if you can get a hold of a copy of this, it's a great book. And the CD of them. What? The CD part is awesome if you can buy it, because the CD is them just talking around a bonfire. It's just the 4 of them talking into a cell phone, and it's a great CD. So
It's available on Amazon.
it is on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How much is it? It's like $10 or something.
It's $12.02 if it's used or new,
Bam.
and paperback, brand new prime.
Here's the best part: if you are a distributor and send out cards, is that book's tax deductible?
Yes.
Check with your CPA. Hashtag check with your CPA. Okay, cool. Before we wrap up, I just want to get some thoughts from you guys, because this is all of our meeting together. what your thoughts were from the meeting. Was there something that sparked you that you really, really liked? Was there something that you met somebody that you really liked? I just kind of get some thoughts from some of you in the room. Mary Lou, if we can get her a stick, a handheld microphone. It's because we're recording it, that's why.
Yeah.
And face me as you're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or I'll come back here so you have something pretty to look at. Other than Maurice and Ryan.
I think the most exciting thing for me was being part of the game. It's the energy that we all shared, and the excitement that we shared just caught me back on fire. And the fact that the responses that have been coming back on my phone out of the 22 that I sent out is very exciting to reconnect with people I haven't even connected with them for years. So that's been the highlight for me today, as well as seeing all of you here.
Awesome, thanks Mary. So we have Shari, who's one of our guests today.
I'm just curious, people texting,
Sorry?
oh yeah. I'm just curious, the people texting, which text, which.
How many of you use this text on the left-hand side of that page? Okay, how many of you use the right-hand side? So about half and half. How many of you use both?
I altered mine.
Altered.
I kind of did a 1 and a 2.
Okay. So great. So whatever you're using that works, I would love to get those, because what I can do is I can put those maybe on the back of the next version of this sheet and give people more options. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if you had one that works, I'm going to ask that you shoot that over to me and let me know. I'd like to test. I'm a big tester, right? I work in the web space, so we like to test. We like to see what gets the best results. Who else has a thought, comment, share? Kurt, I thought you had your hand raised. Let's give Kurt a
Oh, I was
microphone.
just going to say I sent out 8 texts, I got 6 appointments.
Wait, can you stand up and say that?
Let me use the microphone. Okay, I sent out 8 texts on this exercise that Casey did with us, and I got 6 appointments from it.
Awesome. Great job. Great job. Who else learned something new, thought of something new, had an experience? I thought Justin raised his hand. Why don't you go grab him? I know, and then we'll come back.
I got David.
Then we'll come back to David. Or we'll go to David first, then we'll go to Justin.
I knew almost nothing about send out cards. I came with my wife, who's a new sign up under Mary. And the thing that impressed me, I think Dean's expressed it, that we live in a world, where all too often profits are above people. People get subordinated to profit and production. What I heard here today is this is a way to serve people, and it's nice to have profits.
Absolutely. Awesome. Let's go talk to Vegan Donut up there.
Okay.
I was going to call him VD, and then I thought Justin.
Finally got people to stop calling me that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I was going through my notes trying to find what specifically I wanted to share. One of my favorite things actually was, and I underlined this, was let Casey work for you. That was one of the main things. And I mean that sincerely, it's really underlined right here because I can appreciate servant leadership, and I think that's maybe what you're going for, so that's pretty cool. And then the other thing that caught me toward the end was figuring out what objections you have and getting answers to those objections so that when people bring them up, you can say, oh, yeah, well, I've never thought of that, so here you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you say it in that voice.
Yeah, you say it just like that.
Yeah.
So people appreciate it when you talk to them.
Very good.
Awesome.
About
Hello, why
timing.
don't you, Homer, why don't you tell us what your one takeaway was into that microphone?
About timing, I texted one of my customers who had quit a while back. She complained that, oh, I gotta pay for postage and points, and she quit. And she didn't quit, she's still a customer, but she stopped using it. I just texted her again, she says, yeah, I wanna get together with you again, and it's been about 8 months, so timing
Awesome.
can be, you never know what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Absolutely, awesome. Oh, good job. Another takeaway, Amy.
I think we forget to use proper wording. I'm from New York and I'm very blunt, so I might just call someone up and say, hey, let's get together. But when the whole thing of inviting someone to look at something with you, I just thought that was great. I forgot, I never used the word invite, and I'm going to start using it.
Awesome. Anybody else have a takeaway that they want to share with the group? Okay, cool. We won't force you. So let's do. I have three more little raffle prizes. So we'll give these away real quick. This first one is going to go to a blue ticket, and this is and thank you, Kathy, for donating these to the raffle. You guys like prizes, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. So next month, if you want to bring some stuff to give away as raffle prizes, I'm totally down for that. You guys will find out very quickly that I'm a big supporter of all businesses. The only thing I ask with raffle prizes is I don't want coupons. So don't give me a raffle prize that's spend $50 and you get $25 off. Just give us a true raffle prize. Don't you guys feel kind of gypped when you get that stuff? Yeah, me too. So we just don't do it. Okay, so this is Rise of the Entrepreneur. This is put out by Eric Worre. It's his new documentary. I have so many friends in this thing. I can't. It's kind of crazy. So my good friend Joe Kennemore is the one that produced it. So that's kind of cool. So whoever has the ticket 352 is going home with it. Yeah. Wasn't it you that was asking me about it? Bam, Shazam!
I just said, I'm going to be lucky today.
I love that.
I'm lucky every day.
Okay, so 940 is going home with Networking Times. Green ticket, 940.
Me.
All right. Excellent. And blue ticket 379. Blue ticket 379.
Thank you.
Who has it? Awesome. You guys get another. So you guys already had him sign one, right?
Yeah.
So have him sign another and give that to a prospect for thanking them for sitting down and showing a send-out card. Say, this is a guy that we work with in our business.
That's right.
Bam. Anybody want me to raffle off an empty brownie box?
What's in the box?
Okay, guys. So look, we went over a few things today, right? We went over some of the recognition. We talked a little bit about comp plan. We did a texting game where we invited people to take a peek at send-out cards. We recognized people that brought guests, that got checks, that were senior managers, single dips in the pool, double dips in the pool. We gave you manager sheets, how you can help people get to manager. I have some extra of these I think I have some extra texting sheets somewhere. I think we made 50 copies and only 35 of you in the room, so unless somebody borrowed. Oh, I have them right here. So we have some, so if you want a second one or one that's blank that you want to photocopy for your team, we'll make a new version of this in the next few days when I get some feedback from some of you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, and I know that I do want to give a huge shout out to Bruce Waterman back in the back, because Bruce not only videotaped all of today, but he also is the one that created this form. So he has it on PDF. And he's also taken tons of pictures, which we'll get up on Facebook as well. So let's give Bruce a big hand. I do want to thank, I'll put these over here if you guys want to take one. That's great. I want to thank Ryan for making this lively with music. Woohoo! Thank Amy and Kathy for helping with registration and logistics and everything like that. But most importantly, I want to thank each and every one of you. You know, there's a million things that you could have been doing today. And I'm so beyond thrilled and excited that you guys chose to be here and be fully present. Like, I have to say, I was a little nervous thinking we weren't going to get to 200. And I had kind of opened my big yak trap to finesse in those guys. This is the start of something massive here in Los Angeles, you guys. I really want to thank you for your participation. There will be some of you that I'm going to reach out to that I'm going to ask to help be the foundation and the infrastructure. And we love your participation in any way you can. This doesn't happen with just a couple of people. The more people we have, and the guests. I want to thank you guests. You guys are the lifeblood of what we do. The reality is we're already in the deal. We already have our money invested. We have our time invested. You know, we're in the deal already. you're the lifeblood of the organization. You're the lifeblood. And so for all of us that are in the deal already, invite people to come take a look. Let us do the work as a collective group with, like Mary Lou said, the energy of the people in the room. It'll be massive, you guys. We will take this thing global, and we will stomp every other meeting that's going on in the valley or in the country right now. It's driving me crazy that there are meetings a little bit bigger than ours. We have friends up in Fresno that put 157 people in a room. That is unacceptable.
In Fresno?
In Fresno! Exactly.
That's the opposite.
Awesome. So I just want to wrap up by saying a couple of things. We have a few upcoming events that are in broader scope. At the end of February, we have the Relationship Marketing Seminar up in Salt Lake City. I know Mary's going, I think Kathy's going, Fran's going, Paula's going, Laura's going, I'm going. It's going to be a phenomenal event. Robert, you guys are going. Phenomenal event. It is absolutely, definitely worth you going there. For every guest you have there, you can pretty much consider adding about 100 people to your organization because of that. Get your car, load it with people, and bring them up to Salt Lake City. The following week, I'm going to be doing 4 cities in 4 days, where we're going to do Steve Schultz, the president of Send Out Cards, and I are going on a mini tour together. And we will be doing Wednesday, February 20-something, 23rd, something like that. 20, is it 25? Okay, yeah, so 25, we're going to be in Portland, Oregon. The next day, the 26th, that Thursday, we'll be in Vancouver, BC. We'll come back and we're going to do a Friday night in downtown Seattle. And then Saturday, we're going to do an all-day training like this in downtown Seattle as well. So if you have folks up in that neck of the woods, please send them. Seattle's my hometown, so I get excited to go up and I get to see my friends. You can see the kooky people I hang out with if you come up there. So with that, you guys, I know we went 5 minutes over. I hope you had a great time. I'm going to say this too. I know $10 is pretty cheap and inexpensive for everybody to come in here. I'm willing to put out the money we need to get this thing up and running. But we may have to raise it to $15 if that's, you know, just to cover the cost because it'll just get expensive. We can hold 50 in this room, and when we hit 50, we lose the tables, and then we can hold about 60, 70. When we do that, we'll have to move it to a hotel, and that's just expensive. So whatever we spend, just know that the money that we pull in from this goes into a fund for this meeting. So it's not like I'm pocketing all this money. We're putting it in, and we use this to grow this region. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome, you guys. With that, have an absolutely amazing rest of your afternoon. Those of you that are out of town, drive safe. Go follow up on those appointments, guys.